Now, on to the subject today. It's a heavy one. It's miscarriage, and we have Corrine Christian from Miscarriage Matters, along with psychologist Christina Bond in the studio with me. And heading into the holidays, it's a difficult time to experience a miscarriage. Any time, obviously, is a very difficult time to experience that. But as we go into the holidays, perhaps particularly so. So it's also a good opportunity to take some time off work, try to put yourself first if indeed you have suffered a miscarriage. Today, we're discussing the topic of self-care and looking after ourselves through difficult times. So I'm going to come to our in-studio psychologist, Christina Bond, first. And Christina, if someone has experienced a miscarriage or another form of loss, how might they be feeling right now? Just come around onto the back of the mic there. That's great. Thank you.
You can hear me clearly?
That's it. Beautiful.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess it's important to note that everyone's experience is going to be different. So that means there's going to be a really wide range of responses that are normal. We could be here all day if I was going to list all the different emotions that you may experience. The other thing to note is that even if people experience the same emotion, they might respond in different ways. So, for example, if two people experience grief, if that's how they're feeling, one might want to keep really busy and sort of keep to themselves, and somebody else might want to share the experience with family and friends. And both responses are perfectly normal, perfectly understandable, and that's okay.
And I would imagine there could be people listening now who experienced the tragedy of a miscarriage 10, 20 years ago. And, it might have been around this time of year, and those memories, I guess, will come flooding back, perhaps, triggered by, the festive season even.
Absolutely, yeah, it's really difficult. Our emotions do change over time, and we can get triggered at any time as well. So, yeah.
Now, Corrine, you went through a miscarriage a couple of years ago. I'm happy to say you now have a little girl who's 6 months old, yeah?
Yes, that's right. I'm super lucky to have wee Rose at home. Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind sharing your experience from an emotional point of view in terms of your miscarriage.
Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of on the spectrum of a chatty person. Like Christina said, I definitely found a lot of support from my friends and family and talking to them. And I guess something that's quite hard with miscarriage is a lot of the time we haven't told our friends and family that we are pregnant. So that was a tricky thing for me, sort of deciding, should I bring these people into this hard time when I didn't include them in the sort of the joyful time? But I ended up just needing to have people checking in with me. So I found talking was great. Running was really good for me too. Getting back into my exercise made me feel a bit better.
Were there any emotions that actually surprised you?
Well, yeah, I was just thinking about that this morning, actually. One thing that I found surprising was I had a lot of guilt about trying for another baby, which it kind of surprised me, yeah, because I hadn't thought about that. But thinking about trying for another baby, I felt really guilty for the first baby. Moving on, kind of, I guess, yeah.
At what stage of your pregnancy were you when you miscarried?
I was 11 weeks. Yeah, we were about to go for our 12-week scan the next week and, yeah, see Bubby.
Right. If I could get Christina to come back onto that. I wish we had more mics, guys. I really do. This is a bit annoying, to be honest. But welcome back, Christina. When trying to manage such a difficult experience, you hear people say, be kind to yourself. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, I think of being kind to yourself as kind of cutting yourself some slack. So if we think about how we would respond to a friend or a loved one if they were going through a hard time, what would we say to them and what would we expect from them, and kind of turn that onto ourselves.
Yep.
So it's really important in being kind to yourself that you are doing all those self-care things. So like Corrine said, if you can, exercise, eating well, getting enough sleep, and talking to friends and family. So research shows that all of those things are actually going to help us recover. So they're important things to do to be kind to ourselves.
Every situation's different, of course. All people are different. Personally, when I'm going through a hard time, I like to talk. I like to get it out. Whereas, ask my friends. But some people tend to, close up a little, don't they, and bottle things up. And is that healthy, or would you? I guess you are what you are.
Yeah, it's definitely okay to have some time to yourself. You don't have to talk about it straight away, but research does show that being able to express our emotions does help us recover. So this could be just by identifying what we're feeling. Like Corrine said, it was guilt and sort of the reason that she was feeling guilty. So by being able to identify that, and then you don't have to share it, but by thinking it or writing down or talking to people, that can really help us recover.
Yep. And Corrine, you may have already touched on this, but what did you do for yourself that you found to be helpful?
In the beginning,
you had the running, I know, but
right at the very start, I when it was all going on, I gave myself naps during the day, which I know you don't want to be sleeping all day, but I was quite exhausted physically, I think, as well as emotionally. So I allowed myself to have a nap each day, and then I'd go out for a walk. Also, I'm lucky my parents have a farm, so I found physical work good. So while I was off work, I went out and planted some trees. I said to my mum, I just wanted to plant one tree for the baby, and we were planting trees a lot of the day, but that was good. So yeah, that was something I liked.
Do you mind me asking, would you describe yourself at that stage as being depressed, or did you go through a period of depression?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I was pretty down for a while. But I'm really lucky, I think, just with the amount of support I have around me. I think it's really hard when I think my husband actually really summed it up really well, which was he said to my sister, if your grief and what you're going through is not acknowledged by people, then you feel like you can't experience it. And that's a big thing with miscarriage. A lot of people just sort of say, oh, you can have another baby, and it wasn't meant to be, and things like that. They're kind of shutting you down and saying you can't grieve it. So I was lucky I had those people, and they let me go through it,
So nice to hear you say this, because, personally, I wouldn't really know how to offer comfort or what to say to a woman who had just suffered a miscarriage. Of course
not, because it's not, it's really difficult for people.
So let that person talk, yeah? In other words, don't say, well, it wasn't meant to be. That's not what you want to hear.
Yeah, and that's something that Christina was saying. Maybe you could elaborate a wee bit better than me, but it's sort of taking on what that person's saying as well. So if they're saying, I've lost my baby, when you're talking to them, you can say, I was so sorry to hear about your baby, not just, go with your wording. Is that kind of right?
And it's okay to say to them, look, I really don't know how to respond to you. This is a really sad time, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. How can I help you? What do you need from me?
Good, yeah. Fantastic. And of course, actually, Corrine, you went on to establish through your experience Miscarriage Matters. So I guess that was kind of helpful for you as well, was it?
Yes, well, I was really lucky with that because my sister is an amazing researcher, and she really was kind of trying to work out what should happen when someone has a miscarriage, I guess, and she did a lot of research, which gave me a lot of opportunities to talk about it because we were researching it. So I always had it at the forefront, and she was always checking with me if it was too much or anything. But I was lucky in that I had something to really keep me busy straight away.
Yep, and now of course you can help others through your experience, which is wonderful. Where can people get help if they need it? In terms of miscarriage?
Yeah, a good place to start is always your GP, depending on where you live. Sometimes the GP can refer you to a brief intervention counsellor, and so you can have some free counselling sessions. You can always Google for registered counsellors and psychologists online and make your own private appointment. We've got the 1737 number, which is nationwide. I think the most important thing to do is, if you would like extra help, professional help, is to ask your family and friends to support you to get that help. The first person that you see might not provide you the help that you need, so keep reaching out and keep trying.
Yep, and you'll find it.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely
great to know. Guys, thank you so much for coming in. Was there anything else you wanted to add? You were pretty right. All right.
Happy leave. Thank you so much for having us on, John. So great to talk to you.
Thanks for popping in. Corrine Christian from Miscarriage Matters and psychologist Christina Bond here at Compass FM.